Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of Storytime with Nate. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about a few things, rant about a few things. It's not usually going to be like this. I might rant, I might tell you a little bit of a story of my life, more to come in the future of that. But this time, I really wanted to talk about what happened to us in the past couple of days, which deals with our car being stolen. Yeah. So it all started on the 22nd, which was 2 days ago. Sorry, I'm not supposed to show this. It's my notes. It all started on the 22nd because we showed up to the apartment. We went into the apartment, went on our merry lives. Then the next morning, the 23rd, yesterday, I wasn't paying attention whenever I walked my dog Leia, which I should have to see if it was there at that time, but I didn't know because it didn't happen yet. We didn't know yet. So I walked the dog at I don't even know, at some point. And then we were gonna leave at 12:30 in the afternoon. When we got out there with the baby, we looked around and I was like, something's up. Where's the car? And then my first thought was maybe Alyssa was playing prank on me or something. Probably the other way around for her too. But it wasn't like that. So we went back to the apartment. I immediately called 911. Well, first I looked up, just in case I was supposed to call my insurance first or call the apartments first or something. But I looked it up to see maybe what's the first step in if your car gets stolen or is missing. So I found out I should call 911. Anyway, I called 911. They asked me a bunch of questions. The only answers I knew to answer was we got there at 7 o'clock the day before. Didn't pay attention until the next day. That day we were about to leave and then found it missing. Blah 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 blah. So and then they send the police and then they asked me a bunch of questions, had me sign something, blah blah blah. And then after that, or before that, right before that, I called my insurance and they the theft person called me today because they were out of the office or whatever yesterday on Sunday. The police showed up, all of that happened, then they left. They said they'd let us know if they ever find it and whatnot. So then we didn't really have much else to do, so we watched some TV and then trying to keep our minds off of it. We then went to the pool, which I'll have a video of that also in a little while. I will be editing that. And then once we got done swimming and everything, it was at 9 o'clock whenever we came back home. And we came home and then her mom, which was with us because we didn't have a car, so they dropped us off and then they went around the corner and guess what they find? Our car. So our first thought was somebody was being stupid and then they just drove our car to the next lot because they wanted to play a prank on us or something. But that's not the case. I rushed over there because they called us and let us know. So I rushed over there and then I forgot to grab my key, so I rushed back, got my key, went back to the car, And then whenever I got back, somebody had shown up on like a motorcycle and was like talking to them, saying, yeah, whenever I left, the car wasn't there. So it must have been like pretty close to when we got there that they showed up. So after that, I called the police, of course, to let them know that we found my car. I didn't touch the car really. I unlocked it and opened the passenger door and checked the glove box where we keep the spare key. And of course it wasn't there because the doors were locked. But then I called the police, let them know. They said that they would send a police officer. I answered a bunch of questions again. And then Alyssa's mom went back to the apartment to be close to her so that she's not worrying. And then me and my wife's stepdad, we sat in the car next to my car to make sure that nobody took it again. So we sat there, and we were sitting there for like a whole hour. Still no cops. But then, out of the blue, I see two guys walk behind the vehicle, around the building, behind the vehicle, and then they were about to get in my car. Yeah. I saw the doors unlock, and then I freaked out. I didn't know really what to do, so I like tapped Jerry on the shoulder, and then he also like freaked out a little bit, and then he pulled down the window and was like, "Hey, you guys!" And then that's all it took for them to like bell, and they took off running while I was calling 911. Like I started calling 911 whenever I tapped on him on the shoulder. I should have just got out of the car and tackled one of them, like the ones with the keys, because now we don't have the keys still. I called 911, told them, hey, these guys, they just like showed up and tried to take the car again. But now they're running, and then they asked me, where are they running to? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't really know where they ran. I knew what direction they ran, but it was so quick, like in my head. I was also in the passenger seat, so I didn't really get a good look at him, and then he didn't really get a good look at him either. So it was like, we didn't really know a lot to tell them. I should have like taken a picture at least or something. But they took off running, and then later on, the police finally show up. It wasn't that long after, actually. It was maybe like 5 to 10 minutes after. Also a helicopter. Like while I was on the phone with 911, like I saw the helicopter flying by with the spotlight. It was crazy. Like I've never seen anything like that before in real life. But anyway, the police showed up. He was asking, actually, I even wrote everything down. There was a lady who, right before the police showed up, there was a lady who came with her car, and then she got out and then was walking to her apartment, which was like right in front of where the car was. And I was like, hey, do you know the two guys that left this vehicle here? And then luckily she did. She didn't know them, but she saw them. She said that they were outside whenever it happened, like whenever they dropped it off. And she was like, we heard like gravel, somebody stepping in gravel, which we don't really hear a lot because nobody rocks in the gravel. And it was these two guys who just got out of the vehicle, like one white dude, one like Hispanic guy. They were both pretty young, and then they just walked around the building. So they definitely live in the apartments. But yeah, So she saw that, and then the police show up right as I'm getting done talking to her. And then so the police officer asks her questions, and then after that, she goes back into her apartment, and then he asks me a bunch of questions and all that. So then, basically after that, I had to leave the car there so that he got the investigator person to drive over there so they could take fingerprints and things like that. And so we went back to the apartment and sat here for a little bit. I walked, and then I started walking my dog, which gets me to the next point. I was walking my dog down in the grass where I usually walk her, pretty close to where that little street thing is in the apartments where the car was parked. And I see this guy. I couldn't tell like what skin color or anything from where I was, and it was dark. But he was walking towards where I am, or where I was, and then he like sees me. He clearly sees me, and then he like turns around, turns the other way, walks around the entire grass area, and then he goes to the beginning of the little street where the car was parked, where the police are, and then he's behind a vehicle, like a van, and he like looks around, and then he turns around again. Yeah, and then he goes behind that building. So that was definitely, or at least somebody who was not wanting to be around police. So I think that was one of them, one of the guys who took my car. So I walked my dog all the way to the police and was like, I think I might have seen one of them, so if you want to look around or something. So that happened, and then I bring my dog back, and then I get the call almost immediately after, like, we're done here. I just need you to answer a couple questions about some things that are in the car. And then so I go back over there, and then there were a couple things that were new in the car from those guys. There was like a empty Powerade bottle or something, and then like a brand new car charger. Like they bought a brand new car charger, and then they started to open it, but didn't open it all the way. I don't know why. And today we found out our car charger that was already in there is missing. Okay, dudes. But then there was a aux cord. But I think that was about it. So I told them that those were the only things that were new in the car that I could tell. So they took those things and they did their investigative stuff. So they got a couple prints. They got a little swab from the bottle. And that was about it. They sent me on my way. So we swapped cars with her mom so that the person with the key couldn't get to it and try to steal it again. But that's about it for that story. It is insane. That's a whole 15 minutes of just talking about that one thing. It's crazy. Like, who steals a vehicle from, like, right from somebody's apartment? And then not only that, they live in the same apartments, and they park it at the same apartments right there. Like, they're not going to get away with it. I mean, they might still get away with it because nobody, if they haven't done any crimes before, then the police won't know, and they can't find them. So, it's like, who does that? Insane people. That's who does it. Like, we have a baby. And it's funny because, like I told my wife, it looked like it almost seems like they stole it and then they were like, this is our new car. Like, we stole it, but it's our new car. Because the back seat, unfortunately, it was dirty. But they, like, picked up things and put them in the pockets. Like, they cleaned up a little bit. Which is really funny and weird. I don't know. But yeah, this is crazy. And then we have to deal with the insurance thing. There was like a big scratch on the front of the car, like they hit a curb or something. And of course they stole the key, so we have to get the whole car rekeyed. So basically we have to pay money for somebody stealing our car. The world is not a fun place. It can be, but it's just right now, it's crazy. On a happier note, I'm just kidding, it doesn't get happy. Another rant I'm gonna rant about is the apartment that we're in. It's great, I love it, but the maintenance needs some work. Needs a lot of work. We have been here for almost a month. And that dishwasher hasn't been fixed. Like, our first 2 weeks, we tried to run the dishwasher and then we opened it up because we smelled something and it was burning. Like, smoke came out, everything. So we got the maintenance over and they looked at it and was like, oh yeah, it's this piece, like almost like it happens a lot. They were like, we'll just replace it. They go back, get a new piece, come back, it doesn't fit. So they're like, I'm gonna put in a new order for this, and then it should be here within a week, maybe 2. It's been a month, so yeah. And then I've called many times now, and almost every single time they're like, we'll call you back once we talk to the maintenance and see what's going on. Never call me back. Never. So there's that. And there's a few things wrong with the apartment that I put in, like the door needs something because it jams. Like, it doesn't jam, but it sticks a lot. The bathroom door, the lock is completely broken, doesn't lock at all. The toilet leaks a little bit. There's that. Pissed. So pissed. Yeah. So we have to deal with all that. And it is not fun. Especially with no money already. Like, what are we supposed to do, you know? But anyway, that was my story time with Nate. There was something else I was going to say that I didn't write down, but I just thought of it. But now I can't remember because I'm exhausted from everything that has happened.